welcome to Fearless DIY Music. My name is Tristan Lass, and today I'm chilling out with a beverage, and I just hate to break it to Fuzz Pedals, but I'm afraid that we may be at the end of the road at this point. Yeah, this is kind of a breakup video for me, I think. I had never used Fuzz Pedals up until the COVID lockdown. And during the COVID lockdown, I began to watch YouTube channels about guitar stuff. And lo and behold, loads and loads of the people that I ended up kind of following and still follow to this day really were enamored with fuzz. They either made fuzz pedals or used them all the time and extolled the virtues of the almighty fuzz pedal. So I began my own journey through fuzz by I bought my first one, which is this TC Electronic behind me, just as a cheapie to see if I liked it. I didn't. I'm not into the muff style circuits. I remember lots of former bandmates and acquaintances all used big muffs back in the day in Portland because it was the grunge era and everybody used a big muff. And I never liked the way they sounded. I was a DS1 guy. I liked the sharper, biting, kind of, the kind of nature of the compression of the DS1 works for me. And to this day, I still sometimes chase that particular tone. So I began with the muff style circuit. That didn't kind of work out for me. I did make a video about that Fender Hammertone Fuzz about, 9 months ago. I got that. It did a nice spitty thing. And over time, I discovered that I do like, or did like, I don't know, I'm kind of conflicted about it all. But the fuzz face circuit is just the only fuzz circuit I found out of everything I've tried that agreed with me at all. And I only kind of liked it when it was spitty. So I built my own fuzz pedals. Those two on the end there are my creations. They are based on fuzz face circuits. They, in some cases, use silicon. In some cases, they use MOSFETs. I found that the MOSFETs I liked better. Now I've kind of figured out why I like the MOSFETs better. It's because they give a little bit more clarity and more of a tube-like character to clipping and distortion. So I'm beginning to get ready for pre-production on an album. So, like a painter, I am picking my palette of colors and the brushes I'm going to use to make my album, to paint my picture in music. And as I've gone on that journey, I made a video about a month ago about simplifying your signal chain. Well, I've been, kind of getting rid of all the stuff that I'm not going to use. And I found that in every case, when I went to one of the boards in the studio or my board out here in the shop, the fuzz was the first thing to get pulled off. I was just kind of like, I'm not going to use this. This is not pleasing to me. It's fun to jam around with. It's fun to be by yourself and just kind of go, wow, listen to these gnarly sounds that I can make. But when I think about fuzz in the context of a mix or room sounds with other instruments, it just doesn't fit with my vision whatsoever with how I want my guitar to sound, or a bass or anything else. I know some people put fuzz on everything. Well, that's all well and good. It doesn't work for me. I'm as time has gone on, I'm looking for more and more clarity. I want more bell-like tones. I'm looking for distortions and gains that are less compressed. And I just find that fuzz just kind of overtakes everything. It doesn't allow my fingers and my right hand to really come through and articulate the way that I want it to. And, I get it. Fuzz is a big, gnarly effect. So why is fuzz so popular? Why was I seduced by it? I think that, back in the day, it was kind of the only option a lot of our favorite artists had. There weren't a huge variety of things to choose from. So you had a tube amp that was usually cranked and overdriven, and then you drive it even farther with some sort of fuzz circuit. until gain pedals came around in the early 70s, mid 70s came into their own. Fuzz was kind of the only game in town if you wanted to really push your amp and to get that sustain. So it's technologically, very primitive. And that's cool in a way. I mean, I've built fuzz pedals. There's hardly any parts in there, which is going to bring me to my next reason why fuzz pedals are so popular. So popular artists use them in the 60s and early 70s. The iconic, artists. I don't need to name the people. I mean, just about everybody. A lot of people that people still revere to this day. I'm going to have a sip of my beverage here. I think the second thing driving fuzz in the contemporary landscape as of right now. I know in the 90s it was like, Mudhoney, and I'll actually cite Mudhoney as the main example. Using the Big Muff and the Super Fuzz and all that stuff. They were using those circuits, and a lot of people followed suit. Then it all kind of went away. Then it's been coming back. It's come back over the past, I'd say 5 years or so. And I think that one reason why a lot of people are adopting fuzz or playing around with fuzz or talk about fuzz all the time is because it is an incredibly cheap circuit to make. No pedal builder or company can tell me that, a $300 fuzz pedal, sure, they're putting, their spin on it, they're putting buffers in, they're ensuring that they're stable pedals that perform as they should every time you turn it on, because the circuit innately is very unstable. I mean, with the fuzz pedals I built them just to the old fuzz face spec, and things fail, so I have to have spare parts for those, and then, chase them down when the pedal just stops working. I get that you have to do a lot of, iterative engineering to keep a fuzz circuit stable. And I get that, but still ultimately, these are not things that there's not a lot of R&D going into these pedals. I mean, there's hardly any parts. I'm sure they're cheap to conceive. They're cheap to make. I mean, I've got, all sorts of switches on that one pedal and 3-foot switches. I can change Q1 and Q2. I understand how a fuzz pedal works. I can change the clipping. I can change all sorts of things in that pedal. And it's not hard to do. So I think that the plethora of fuzz pedals out there, and so many builders, is like the foundation of their company is based on fuzz. It's because it's an easy circuit to manipulate, it's an easy circuit to build, and it's relatively inexpensive as far as what kind of parts you need to put into it to make one. Hence, there's tons of fuzz pedals out there. When there is tons of a product, what do you need? You need number 3. You need people to push the product. You need influencers. You need people who are, gonna tell you, oh, wow, this fuzz pedal really does something that fuzz pedal doesn't. And of course, sure it does, maybe, or whatever. I just think it's a little insane. How many are out there? All these different variations. But when it all comes down to it, I feel like fuzz does the same thing. I mean, it's kind of like high gain distortion. High gain distortion. You can put different flavors on it, but it's all kind of the same thing. And I feel the same way about fuzz at this point. I feel like it's kind of, if I'm using a fuzz pedal, I feel like I'm just throwing a blanket over everything and just kind of, I'm hiding my hands, I'm hiding my strings, I'm hiding my amp. It overtakes everything. And I feel the same way about the DS1, but I've learned how to kind of like work with the DS1 and know what it does and just, be happy with, if I want something that's going to be super in your face and overdriven, I will chase that DS1 sound before I'll chase fuzz because I can harness that and control it. It works for me. Now, I know that a lot of people watching this will tell me that they have mastered fuzz, and that's great. And good. Enjoy what you enjoy. I, tried the whole rolling it back, and when I rolled back on fuzz, it's like, oh, it turns into kind of a gain sound, but a crappy gain sound. I mean, let's be frank. A great gain pedal is going to kick any fuzz pedal square in the ass as far as a gain sound. So trying, oh, you can use it for all these different things. It's like, no, it's meant to destroy. And that's fine. That's great. I know that, like I said, a lot of iconic artists back in the day used them, but that was their only option. They didn't have all these other things to choose from. And so this is just kind of my, it's not a rant. I'm not trying to dissuade people from using fuzz, but I did want to articulate something about how I feel about it, because I think that a lot of people, maybe newer players or people who are, searching or whatever, may go, oh, well, and then you start collecting fuzz pedals. I just think that it's like maybe one or two, maybe just one, and, know that it's just used for certain things. It's not a Swiss Army knife effect in my mind. It's the same as a flanger. You would use it in small doses, I think, and I also just want to appeal to those out there who aren't in love with fuzz. I mean, we're not all in love with fuzz. Do we need, another 10 fuzz pedals released this year by major makers? Probably not. I really think that the Big Muff and the Fuzz Face, I mean, everything else is just a variation of those two circuits, really, when it comes down to it. So that is my rant about fuzz. I've broken up with fuzz. I'm done. And they're not going back on my board anytime soon. Maybe there'll be a piece in one of the songs on the new album that calls for something like that. I don't know. But at the moment, I'm really enjoying being free of fuzz. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching. If you watched this far, I would appreciate a like and a subscribe. Shares are great. The comment section I just love. So please leave a comment. Hey, rake me over the coals. Maybe you love fuzz and you think I'm completely off base with this. That's fine. We can all have our opinions, and we can all like what we like. I just wanted to kind of bring up some of the economic force, some of the economics of fuzz. It's just a theory that I have. And, and the fact that there's just so many influencers out there that just like fuzz, 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 fuzz. And I'm saying no to fuzz. And, just to maybe be contrary. So leave your opinion in the comment section, smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. Take care.